Hello, this is Noreen Crone-Findlay from Crone-Findlay.com and TottyTalksCrafts.com. This is my fourth Lucet video tutorial, and this one is about using your Lucet cords or spool knitted cords to make knots and interlaces. First of all, let's do the earls. Okay, website, Crone-Findlay.com. My blog is TottyTalksCrafts.com. YouTube, well, we're already here right now. And my Etsy shop. Right now, because my website got hacked and had to be cleared and deleted, boo-hoo, that was horrible. Etsy is the place to go to order my patterns, and all of the spool knitted patterns on my Etsy shop work beautifully with Lucet cords, so do check those out for sure. Follow me on Facebook at Noreen Crone-Findlay Designs. Using Lucet cords to tie knots they turn into just gorgeous embellishments that you can stitch onto bags, hats, scarves, pillows, blankets, clothing, wear as jewelry. The options are endless. You can go to my Etsy shop and there's a pattern for a gorgeous Celtic interlace necklace done with spool knitting, but you can also use your Lucet cords. Now I'm going to show you how to make a very simple knot using a block of foam that you can pin into and two Lucet cords or spool knitted cords that are about the same length. Tie one of them, tie the ends together in a knot, and then place that on to the block of foam and put a pin. Whoop, sorry, just hooked the tripod. Okay, and then just put a pin on either end of the loop. Now take the other Lucet cord and go over the lower, under the upper, over the upper, and under the lower. And now tie these ends in a knot. And scooch that knot so that it is underneath the lower bar. And we're going to scooch our first loop over so that the knot is hidden. And then you can use your ends, just kind of organizing this a little. There you go. I'll lift it up a little. There we go. Then you can use your ends to stitch this knot to, it's a very simple knot, that took just seconds, but it's quite an effective trim. So you can use that to trim bags, hats, scarves, blankets, sweaters, shawls, whatever you'd like. So there's a super simple knot for you. This knot grew out of the little 2-loop knot. This is actually a 4-loop knot. It looks like it's all connected, but guess what? It isn't. So we're going to I've traced it out onto some mesh so that it's easy to pin through. You can trace it out onto just tracing paper or regular paper. I'll put the pattern up on my blog. So now I've tied one loop, and I'm going to pin that so that I made the cords each about 6 inches long, a little bit less than 6 inches, so they're kind of pulling in a bit here. 6 inches would be better. So pin that first loop down, take another 6-inch or almost 6-inch luceted or spoon-knitted cord and tie the ends together for that one. And it's going to get pinned over the loop that's right beside it. I'll just pull another pin out here and pop it in. It's nice to have, whoa, sorry, my easel, my little tripod thingy gets quite, it's cheap and cheerful, and it has a tendency to get unstable and go wobbly on me. Okay, so there, we've pinned the two loops side by side. Now we're going to take the third strand and we're going to peek. Okay, it goes over, so it'll go under the next one and over and under. And when it turns around and comes back, it goes, they're always going to go over, under, over, under. So it's going over and under. And I'm going to bring the ends of the other one. It has to go, it went over last time, so it has to go under this one and over that one. So I'm going to now tie those knots together. And I'll pin that little darling into place. Of course, with all the ends kicking up and being in the way, it's hard to see how wonderful this is going to look, but believe me, it does. Trust me. Okay, there we go. And our last almost 6-inch cord. So this one is over top of the previous one, so it has to go, this one has to go over it. So it's really easy to figure out how it works, because you're always going over the one that was under and under the one that was over. And so you just are weaving it. I'm going to get a crochet hook to just help me with this final bit. So I'm going over, under. I'm going to take those ends to the middle, and then of course I'll go and reach that little end there. And it comes under and over, and now it's going to get knotted. Now, if I was going to stitch this to something else, I would simply lift it off of my block and place it onto the piece that it was going to get stitched onto, and then I would stitch it down in place. If I wanted it to be a coaster or something that was going to be standalone, I would either glue or stitch each of the intersections together. but I'm just trying to get the knots out of the way so that you can see it a little bit better without all those little cheerful ends flapping and flailing all over. So there you have it, a complex looking knot in not a lot of time. Pretty neat, hey? So that's working with a template. Another great way to make knotted pieces, and actually the way I made this knotted piece, was by using books of knots, and you just follow the instructions in the books of knots. I have to, I can't get the, there. And they show you how to tie knots with rope. Well, don't use rope, use your Lucet cord. And you'll make gorgeous knots that are so decorative and so beautiful. So that's another way of making gorgeous knotted pieces. So there's your Celtic interlaces and your knots. And of course the simplest knot of all is just, you know, this bracelet with, I've just gone over, under, and pulled up. Pretty simple. So, happy luceting. Have fun with it. And isn't it amazing how something that looks so complicated, well, right now this doesn't look that wonderful. I should actually stitch it down and show it to you stitched properly in place. Anyhow, the knots, the making of them is simple, and they become really beautiful when they're all stitched in place and used as trims and embellishments. So, happy luceting. Enjoy. So here are the knots and interlaces once they're stitched down. You can see they kind of open up and they show up a whole lot better once you've got them stitched down and stabilized. So working knots and interlaces with your Lucet or your spool knitter is a wonderful way to do really beautiful decorative work for bags or blankets or clothing or shawls or wraps or purchased clothing, pillows, whatever. So happy knotting and interlacing and happy luceting.